Now I give lecture on discrete time interval method for hydrothermal scheduling algorithm. This is the one of the algorithm of hydrothermal scheduling algorithm. It is called as a general algorithm for hydrothermal scheduling. First, we studied about the introduction to discrete time interval method. Already I told you this is nothing but the general algorithm for hydrothermal scheduling. The problem is to determine the water discharge, that is the Q naught, at various time intervals. It depends on two factors. One is to minimize the cost of thermal generation. The other one is to meet the operating constraints of the hydro power plant only. Now, the discrete time interval method consists of 6 subdivisions. The first one is mathematical formulation of objective function. Second one is operating constraints. Third one is discretization. Fourth one is dependent variables. Fifth one is Lagrange function, and then sixth one is the algorithm. First we studied about the mathematical formulation of objective function. First we consider the time period operation T maximum. What are the following assumption made for mathematical formulation of objective function? The first one is the storage of reservoir is specified at the beginning and end of the period also. First we consider the storage of reservoir. The second one is water inflow, Q suffix in, is known. Okay, the third one is load demand, PD, is known for the entire period. The period may be hour or week or month or year, whatever may be, but we should know the load demand for the entire time period. Now first we write down the objective, that is the mathematical formulation objective function, that is the determination of rate of water discharge to minimize the cost of thermal power generation. The equation minimize Ft. Ft is nothing but the fuel cost, that is equal to integral 0 to T max, the time period 0 to T max. Then the F dash of Pgt, thermal power generation with respect to time period T into dt. This is equation number 1. In the formula, Ft is nothing but what? Fuel cost or the total fuel cost of the thermal power plant. Okay. Then the second one is the operating constraint. We can consider the operating constraints. Okay. The operating constraints, the first one is the constraint of power balance. Okay. How these equations and all? So at any time T, the active power has to be balanced between generation and demand only. In the formula is Pg of T plus Pgh of T minus P loss of T minus Pd of T equal to 0. The T is nothing but the time period minimum, that means 0, maximum T max only. Then second constraint is constraint of water availability. So therefore the constraint equation is S of T max minus S of 0 minus integral 0 to T maximum Q in, water inflow of T with respect to time Tt, and then plus the integral 0 to T max Q naught, that is the water discharge with respect to time, and then into dt equal to 0. This is equation number 3rd. The next constraint is nothing but the constraint on hydropower generator. So hydropower generation is Pgh with respect to time period, that is equal to F of St, comma Q naught of T, that is the function of S of T. Okay, that is the water available S of T, comma that is the water discharge Q naught with respect to time Tt. This is the equation number 4. Then the third one is the discretization. First, we divide the total time period T max into n subintervals and each time is the del t. Now, all the variables remain fixed within the subintervals. The discrete equations, that is the equation number 2, then to 4 as follows: minimize summation of k equal to 1 to n, that is the k is nothing but the particular time period. The time period is 1 to n, and then the f of pgt into k. What are the constraints? Pgt, that is the thermal power generation with respect to k interval. Then pgh, hydropower generation. Then next power loss. Then pd, demand. All are with respect to the time interval k. That's why I am written as pgtk plus pghk minus ploss k minus pdk equal to 0. Now the equation P loss of k, that is equal to B dt into P gt the k the whole squared plus 2 B dh P gt k into P gh k plus 2 B hh into B gh k square. In the equation la B dt, B th and then BHS represents are the loss coefficients. TT means thermal power plant, HH hydro, PTH, TH means thermal and hydro. Now the equation S power k minus 1 minus Q in power k del T plus Q naught k del T equal to 0. In this equation we have to divide it by del T. Finally we are getting S asterisk k minus S asterisk that is the S power asterisk k minus 1 minus Q in k plus Q naught k equal to 0. This is equation number 7. In the equation number 7, the S power asterisk k, that is equal to Sk divided by del T. The unit is meter cube divided by S or the meter cube by H only, that is the hour. Meter cube per second or meter cube per hour. Then again, how to calculate the hydropower generated by the hydropower plant only. Now you see the equation 8, Pgh power k equal to 9.81 into 10 to the power minus 3 into H average power k into Q naught k minus small p into megawatt. In this formula 8, the term H average, the power k is equal to average head in the kth time, k for k time interval, H for water head, AV for average. So therefore HAVK represent average head in kth time interval. But the formula for HAV, that means the average head in the time interval k is equal to H naught into 1 plus 0.5 E into S power asterisk k plus S power asterisk k minus 1. This is equation number 9. In this equation, H naught represents the water head corresponding to dead storage, which is represented by naught. E, small e is nothing but the head correction factor, which is equal to del T divided by A into H naught, where A is equal to area of cross section of reservoir. Okay, now the equation 9, substituting equation 9 in equation 8, we are getting the equation 10, that is PGHK equal to H naught asterisk into 1 plus 0.5 E S asterisk k plus S asterisk k minus 1 into Q naught k minus small p. In this case, H naught asterisk is equal to 9.81 into 10 to the power minus 3 into H naught. Okay, so therefore in the equation 8 we can substitute equation 9. Finally we are getting the equation 10. Okay, up to 10th equations, what that is the discretization only. So the first equation is the objective function. Second, third, fourth equation is nothing but the operating constraints. Then fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth equation is nothing but the discretization equations. Then the fourth one is the dependent variable. Now we studied about the dependent variable of the short term hydrothermal scheduling using that means a discrete time interval method. Okay, now all the equation, that is k is equal to 1 to n. Now the equation 11 is nothing but s asterisk n minus s asterisk 0 equal to summation of k equal to 1 into n, that is q in power k, plus summation of k equal to 1 into n q naught k equal to 0. In the equation 11, you see n minus 1 is nothing but the independent value of q naught. Q naught is the water discharge. It can be specified one of the discharges becomes a dependent variable. So in the equations the q02, q03, q0n, that means the k is equal to what is the value? 1 to n. If k is equal to 2, 3, 4 up to n means that variable is called as a independent variable. But q01 only is called as a dependent variable. Okay, now from the equation 11, we can write the equation for dependent variable q01 equal to s asterisk 0 plus s asterisk n plus summation of k equal to 1 to n into q in power k minus summation k equal to 1 to n q naught k. That is equation number 12. Okay, in the equation number 12, the second summation term means what? Minus z naught, that is the summation of k equal to 1 to n q naught into k. Okay, that is, note that the summation is from 2 to n only. 2 to n means is nothing but the independent variable. q01 is nothing but a dependent variable. So now the other dependent variables equal to PGT, thermal generation in the kth interval, k equal to 1 to n. Similarly, hydropower generation in the kth interval PGH k equal to k is equal to 1 to n, and then s asterisk k. S asterisk k is nothing but what? That is the sk divided by, that is the del T only. That is the formula. This is up to 12th equation is nothing but the dependent variable. Then from 12th equation we can study the Lagrange function. The Lagrangian function is nothing but formulated by the augmenting the cost function with the operating constraint using a Lagrange multiplier. So therefore the Lagrangian function which is equal to the summation of, this is the Lagrangian function, this only represents the Lagrange function. So therefore the Lagrange function, this is the symbol for Lagrange function, that is equal to summation of k into f of pgt k minus lambda 1k PGT k plus PGH k minus P loss k minus PD k, these are the constraints, plus lambda 2k equal to S asterisk k, this is the balance demand, that is the water availability discharge, S asterisk k minus S asterisk k minus 1 minus Q in k plus Q naught k. That is the second constraint. The third one is lambda 3k equal to PGHK minus H naught asterisk into 1 plus 0.5 E S asterisk k plus S asterisk k minus 1 into Q naught k minus small p. This is equation number 13. Okay. Now, next equation. So, we equate the partial derivations of Lagrangian with respect to dependent variables to 0 and compute the Lagrange multiplier, that is the dou, the Lagrange function divided by dou PGTK equal to differentiation of PGTK divided by differentiation of PGTK. Because the Lagrange equation with respect to, that means dependent variable to 0 and compute a Lagrange multiplier. So the minus lambda 1 k into 1 minus dou P loss divided by dou PGT, the power k equal to 0. This is equation number 14. Again the equation number 15, after simplifying 14 equation, that is the dou Lagrangian function divided by dou pghk equal to lambda 3k minus lambda 1k into 1 minus dou p loss power k divided by dou pghk equal to 0. This is equation number 15. Okay, so the equation 14 full and consider the thermal power plant. Equation 15 consider the hydro power plant. Finally, the dou Lagrange function divided by dou s asterisk k, but the k is not equal to 0, k is not equal to n also. That means some value. For that is equal to lambda 2k minus lambda 2k k plus 1 minus lambda 3k into h naught into 0.5 e into q naught k minus p minus lambda 3k plus 1 into h naught asterisk into 0.5 e q naught k plus 1 minus p. This is equation number 16. Now we have to compute the dou Lagrange function divided by dou q naught 1, that is the dependent variable. So therefore from the equation 11 the s asterisk 1 equal to s asterisk 0 plus q in 1 minus q naught k, that is k is equal to 1 means this is the equation. In this equation now we can consider the right hand side equation with, that means k is equal to 1 means the Lagrange function equal to f into pgt power 1 minus that the equation number 13, which is equation number 13 the previous slide we saw, no, that is the equation number 13. Okay, the 13th equation. In this equation instead of k we have to substitute 1. Okay, that equation only we are getting here. So we are getting the equation 17. That in the equation 13 we have to substitute k equal to 1 means we get equation number 17. Now you can substitute the s asterisk 1. Now we get the Lagrange function divided by dependent variable dou q naught 1 equal to lambda 2 1 minus lambda 3 1 minus h naught asterisk into 1 plus 0.5 e into 2 s asterisk 0 plus q in 1 minus 2 q naught 1 plus p equal to this equation number 18. So the gradient vector is the partial derivative of the Lagrange with respect to independent variable. Independent variable means k is equal to 2 to n only independent variable. So therefore it's nothing but q naught k only. That is our water discharge in the kth time interval. So the dou Lagrange function divided by dou q naught 1, that is k not equal to 1. If k equal to 1 means that is a dependent variable. If k equal to 2 to n means this is the independent variable. Now we are getting the equation 19. Okay. So what is the optimal solution of this equation is that is the magnitude of the gradient vector is that means greater than or equal to epsilon 1 only. So up to this we studied the Lagrange function. The last one is the algorithm. How do we write the algorithm for discrete time interval method? The first one is the water discharge in the kth time interval q naught k is equal to k to 2 to n is the independent variable. Then second algorithm step is s asterisk k. Calculate s asterisk k, pghk, pgtk and the q naught to 1 from the equation 7, 8, 6 and 12 respectively. And then next obtain lambda 1k, lambda 3k, lambda 2k, but k is not equal to 1 and lambda 2 1 also. These are the things get from equations 14, 15, 16, 17 respectively. Already we saw all the equation. From the equation and you have to write down the step for algorithm of discrete time interval method. Then q naught k, that is the new value equal to q naught k old value minus alpha into that is the dou Lagrange function divided by dou q naught 1, but at k is not equal to 1. but alpha is called as the positive scalar. So if the alpha is positive scalar, we go to step 2. 2 means calculate that S asterisk K, P, G, H, K, P, G, T, K, Q naught 1. Okay. Then during any iterations, if any of the control variables violate their limit, violate means if the voltage 440 means either 430 or 420 is nothing called as a violates their limits, then the variable are set to the violated limit. Okay, so this is the algorithm. Okay, so the algorithm 5 steps only, you can write down the algorithm. If the passage again go to the loop is executed. Okay, so the discrete time interval method consists of 6 parts only. First objective function, then second one is operative constraints, third one is discretization, fourth one is dependent variable, fifth one is Lagrange function, sixth one is the algorithm. Okay, dear students, I hope in this lecture video you clearly understand the how to derive the expression for the gradient vector or general algorithm using discrete time interval method for hydrothermal scheduling. Thank you student for watching this video.